Have you ever come across the word tabernacle in the Bible and wondered what it's all about? It's this fascinating idea, a thread that weaves its way from the very beginning of the story all the way to the final pages. So let's dive in and trace the incredible journey of this one concept, from a simple tent in the desert to a living, breathing reality. So, the whole story of the Bible pretty much ends with this thunderous announcement from heaven. It's a huge declaration. But what does it even mean? What is this tabernacle? Well, to understand this final, ultimate statement, we actually have to go all the way back to the beginning. All right, to really get what that final announcement means, we've got to unlock one key word. The original Greek word that's used right there in Revelation, well, it's the key that opens up this entire concept for us. And that word is skene. It's a pretty simple word, really. It just means a tent, a temporary home, a shelter. This is the noun, the thing at the very heart of our story, the physical place where someone dwells. And then you've got the action word, the verb form, skineo. See, this isn't just about a place, it's about doing something. It means to pitch a tent, to dwell, or you could even say to tabernacle. Now hang on to that word, because trust me, it's going to pop up again in a really, really big way later on. So let's rewind all the way to the beginning and see how this idea gets built from the ground up. We're starting in the Old Testament, where the tabernacle wasn't some abstract idea. No, it was a physical blueprint, a kind of shadow that was pointing toward a much bigger reality yet to come. And this timeline, it just lays out the whole journey for us perfectly. Look at the arc here. It all starts with a command to build a tent. Then it moves through these incredible prophecies, finds its ultimate fulfillment in a person, expands out to a whole people, and finally lands in this eternal reality. So let's start where it all began, with that first command. Right here. This is the original blueprint. From the very beginning, God's whole desire was to have a dwelling place, a sanctuary, so he could be present right there among his people. It was this powerful, visible sign that he was in the camp with them. And you know what's woven right into this idea of God living with them? It's this foundational covenant promise. This phrase, I will be their God and they shall be my people, it becomes like a recurring chorus you hear over and over again throughout the entire Bible. But of course, the story doesn't just end with a tent in the desert. As time moves on, the prophets started talking about a future day, a day when God's dwelling would be something far, far greater and way more permanent. So you have these prophets, right? Like Ezekiel and Zechariah, and they take this idea of the tabernacle and just ramp up the anticipation. They start building this incredible hope for a new kind of dwelling, a whole new level of God's presence that would blow the old tent away. Now, just listen to this from the prophet Ezekiel. Do you hear that? It's that exact same promise we just heard from Leviticus. It's an echo. This consistent language just proves that God's ultimate plan was always about closing the distance between himself and us. And this is where everything changes. It's the huge turning point in the whole story. The shadow from the Old Testament is about to meet its substance. The promise is about to become a person. You see, years before this, the prophet Isaiah gave a sign, and that sign was a name, Emmanuel. It literally means God with us. I mean, that name just perfectly captures the entire theme we've been tracing, this deep, constant desire of God to live with his people. Okay, and here's where it gets really cool. That word dwelt, in the original Greek, guess what it is? It's skinoo. Remember that word? John is making a direct connection here. He's saying that the word became flesh and literally pitched his tent. He tabernacled right here among us. So here's the absolute game changer. Jesus himself is the fulfillment. He is the true, living, breathing dwelling place of God on earth. He is Emmanuel, God with us, in the flesh. That whole physical tent, it was just a pointer, a shadow, leading to him all along. But wait, the story takes another incredible turn. It doesn't just stop with Jesus. In this amazing twist, the reality of God's dwelling place actually expands from one person to include all of those who are connected to him. I mean, this is a huge, huge shift in thinking, right? The book of Acts says it plainly. The Most High does not dwell in temples made with hands. So, if God's not living in buildings anymore, where does he live? And boom, here's the answer. The Apostle Paul takes that ancient promise, that course we've been hearing, and he applies it directly to believers. He says, you are the temple. You are the dwelling place of the living God. God's presence has moved from a place to a people. Okay, let's tie all of this together and focus on the one moment where everything pivoted for good, the cross. This is the moment the old system ended and the new reality burst onto the scene. This chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? Look at the difference. We go from a physical temple made by humans to a living people. We go from separation, symbolized by that thick veil, to direct, unhindered access. And maybe the biggest shift of all, we move from God being among his people to God being in his people. Think about it. The moment Jesus died, the Gospels tell us that this huge, heavy curtain in the temple ripped in two, from top to bottom. That was no accident. It was a divine announcement that the barrier between God and humanity had just been obliterated for good. So let's just recap the fallout from this one event. The veil is gone. The way to God is open. God pitched his tent among us in the person of Jesus. And because of all that, his people, us, have now become his temple, his new dwelling place on earth. And that's really the heart of it all. That huge announcement we started with, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men," it isn't just a promise for some distant future. It's the grand finale of a story whose reality began the second that veil was torn. So that leaves us with this question. A question for all of us, really. If those ancient promises have finally been fulfilled, and if God's own people are now his temple, what does it actually mean for you and for me to be the very place where God has chosen to dwell?